Three, two, one. Bingo, we're live. All right, fuck it. We're on the Wonton Wednesday podcast. Matt, I'm not going to try and slaughter your last name.
Kupcikevicius, you could say Cup. It's the easiest. It's a Lithuanian name. Not many people know how to pronounce them properly.
Fucking knew it was Eastern European.
Yeah, Eastern European on dad's side, and Italian, Irish, Welsh, Dutch, basically everything else on my mom's side, but mainly Italian, Sicilian on my mom's
My
side.
mom would call you Heinz 57.
Yeah, yeah, or as I call myself, a good old American mutt.
Same here. My predominance is Italian and Polish.
Hey, dude, we're basically the same because Poland and Lithuania.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but yeah, you want me to go ahead and tell them a little bit about myself so that way they know what's going on, or
Hell yeah, let's dig in. And we'll go from there, and then we can talk about your Sasquatch experience.
oh, perfect. All right. So, yeah, no, my name is Matt Kupcikevicius. I was a Navy veteran from 2012 2016. Ended up getting introduced to you through Trip, as we are both voice actors for his audiobooks, Smoke Pit Fairy Tales. By the way, if you haven't read those books yet, buy them on Amazon.
You're being very generous with me being a voice actor. I'm just making fucking Russian sounds with my mouth. I'm talking.
For now, dude, I started off just voicing like Joe Schmoes in the background and everything like that, and like a couple of like throw off characters. And as Trip has stated multiple times, I am his voice actor utility knife. He uses me for when people drop out and I just start picking up lines. And it's a blast. And Trip routinely, as he mentioned in the last time him and I were on, was that he has his ways of getting people to do better. He has some people that he has to say, treat them like they're a dog, oh, good boy, and everything like that, and so on and so forth. For me, he has to say, hey, this person is doing better than you, right? And I take it as a challenge. I'm very competitive, and because of that, you and I are now in a death off.
Yes, because I made a better death than you.
We shall see, because my death sound comes in book 4.
Yes, so I've only had, yeah, that one. And I think there's only also one in book 4 that I did, and I already recorded it and sent it in. But it didn't say death, it said scream in fear. And I said, oh, fuck.
Yeah, no, mine is being eaten by zombie.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
so yours is going
so
to be good. Mine is
yeah,
just
so there is panic as one of them has my character's leg, and then screaming while dying while falling down an elevator shaft.
And so I'm just going to go ahead and call book 4 for you. Uh,
For
yeah,
now, at
but
least.
I did sing him a polka song of Russians getting eaten by the mushroom zombies.
There you go.
I did
I
make him laugh
also am
with
going to
that.
be you're also going to be hearing me a lot in that one, because I'm going to be doing the 1MC, the PA system on the ships. I'm just going to be doing random ones for that in the background, for it just to be randomly played when they're on the ships and everything like that. So there's that, because I have experience, because I lived on a ship for 6 months. We were on deployment.
Yeah. Yeah, I only did the 2 weeks on a boat, and I'm like, this is enough for me. This is horrible.
Oh yeah, dude. Tell you what though, some of the best night's sleep you've ever had though, correct?
Yes, just
Yeah,
getting rocked like a
because
little baby.
exactly, especially if you have one of the racks that is facing forward and aft, so your head or your feet are facing either the front or the back of the ship, and you're just getting rocked side to side like you're in a bassinet again.
Pretty sure mine were. I think that's how it panned out. Also, the only cool thing really about being on that boat was I found out which boat I was going on, and I had a buddy from back home who went in the Navy a year before I went in the Marines. and he was
And
on
that was
that
his
boat.
ship?
So I called him up. I'm like, "Hey, dude, what are you doing like this day?" He's like, "I don't know. We're doing like some dumb thing. Like, I can't hang out." I'm like, "That's fine. I'm that dumb thing." He's just like, "Sweet, I'll see you then." So he was waiting for me at the top of the gangplank when we got on. I'm like, "What's
Yep.
up, dude?" And so everyone's just like, what's this?" And like, he followed us into berthing, and I'm like talking to him the whole time. They're like, "Augie, who the fuck is this guy?" I'm like, "This is my boy Keith from back home." Like a few of my friends knew, like I had a friend on the ship, and he also had the worst job. He was a boatswain's mate. Uh,
Oh,
but he like hooked us all up, like took us around. One night, my best friend ended up driving the ship, like all
nice.
sorts, like everyone was just like had a blast. Like we'd sit there out there on the fantail with like him when he was because like our shop was on the fantail, so we'd just like walk outside and be like whoever was pulling security on the fantail would be like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" And like when he
Yeah.
was out there, we'd like
Basically,
get
to
off
keep
a
an eye
boat
out
and
for in case anybody goes overboard.
looking for anybody going overboard, and also pointing out to the sharks and turtles to us, going, "See,
And the
ducks and
whales.
turtles are
And the
over there." And we're
whales.
like, "I didn't see whales. I only saw sharks, turtles, and dolphins."
Dude, I have been within because I was on my second ship. We were off the coast of Alaska doing northern edge exercises. That was also the one time I got to go to Canada because we stopped in Victoria, British Columbia. Beautiful city. And but when we were off the coast of Anchorage, we were, I want to say, like 3 miles off coast, but you could still see the coast. And literally probably like 30 feet off from the side of the ship was a massive, like 30-foot great white. And we could literally see, I was sitting there, I was like, holy, like I was a good like 100 something feet away from that shark, and it still looked like the size of a fucking sedan.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, no, my job in the Navy, I was a gunner's mate. So the guys that you guys turned your weapons into when you got to the ship.
Yeah.
That was my job. I always
Yeah.
joke with Marines. I was like, yeah, the guys that you turn your weapons to on the ships and the ones that teach you how to shoot better, that was my job.
Sure. No, you just tell me how to work that. What's that Gao thing that was on the back?
The Sea Whiz.
Yes, the Sea Whiz.
Yeah, that was the FCs. That was their gun, which made no sense to me. But I actually refurbished those. That's all ran by computer. I was a tech for the 25 millimeter, the single barreled one that is also like on a robot thing that you control from a remote position or from the actual gun itself. Those were fun. Uh, I did get to saw a drug running boat in half with a 50 cal. That was really fun.
You sawed a what in half?
I got to saw a drug running boat in half with a 50 cal.
Where was that?
It was off of either it was somewhere like in Central America. We had because whenever I was on deployment in 2014, we were doing counter drug ops down there, and it was so one of the rules was like if they get caught 3 times, we sank their boat.
Makes
And
sense.
yeah, so it was the second boat that we sunk because the first one they shot with our 3 inch, but then the 3 inch broke. And so we were and we were there, and sitting there on the 50 cal, and my first class is like, "Hey," because they shot from one side and they didn't really do anything to it, and then he's over there at my gun. He's like, "Hey, don't fucking embarrass us." I was like, "Hey, I got it." Get the 50 cal ready. It's coming up to mine, and I literally go tip to tip, like front to back, just saw that, and it just split in half and sank. Because I was also smart and I linked like 6 cans of 50 cal together. So, and I
Yeah,
didn't do
that's
the
how you
whole
do
thing
it.
of, yeah, and I didn't do the thing where you're supposed to do bursts. No, I just held it down and just like a laser, straight up.
Heck yeah.
Dude, it was awesome. And, but anyway, so that deployment was one of the times that I had probably one of the most, it is to this day the craziest, like supernatural, like cryptid thing I've ever experienced. So if you were listening in to with when I was talking with Trip last week, kind of brushed over it a
I
little
did
bit and
this.
like quickly. This was, I want to say, around October of 2014, and I was doing night shift again, but it was one of the weird times I actually had time off, and we didn't have any detainees on board or anything like that, and I was just out on the smoke deck having a cigar and everything like that. I had just lit up, and if you've ever been out to sea, like when you're nowhere near land, like you can see for miles out there,
Yes.
and probably about 10 miles or so out, there was a thunderstorm going on. And so I'm just sitting there, I'm leaning up against the bulkhead on the exterior of the ship, and I'm just sitting there puffing on my cigar and, just watching the storm go off. And I see lightning strike. And I see these arches out there. I'm like, oh, those are probably sea spouts, basically, like the water tornadoes and everything that happen during the storms and everything like that. And then, I'm just paying attention because I'd never seen them in person before. So lightning strikes again, and I look, I go, wait a minute, those aren't reaching all the way to the sky. And I'm paying attention, waiting for another lightning strike, and then then it goes off again probably a few minutes later, and I notice that they're arches and they're moving. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? So I get closer to the edge of the ship, and I'm looking around, and I just happen to look down because from where I was at, I could see both ends of the ship if I just leaned my head over, and lightning struck again, and I just saw this massive shadow that was wider than our ship was long. And I was on a frigate, which it was one of our smaller ships, but it was still like a good like 500-600 foot long ship, and uh, it was it was insane. And so I go in there, and I'm looking down, look back up to see the arches and everything like that. And I looked at my buddy over there who's next to me. I'm like, hey, did you see that? He goes, the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, those out there. He goes, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. I go, I'm only like a third of the way through my cigar. I just go, nah, pitch pitch the cigar into the ocean, and I go inside to go talk to my buddy who's working at the sonar station. And I'm going there. I'm like, hey, is there anything like weird on sonar? He goes, what do you mean? I'm like something really, really, really fucking big. He goes, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Don't say that shit to anyone else ever again. And I saw the fear in his eyes because he knew that I saw something out there, and he didn't want to, cause a scare or anything like that. So I was just like, all right, I'm going to sleep. Fuck that. And after I got out of the Navy, my wife and I, we had actually started transitioning into Norse paganism, and I started reading up on it more. And I was reading at it, and I was like, oh, that was probably Jormungandr. Especially now that there's a bunch of stuff where they're seeing like from like satellites and everything like that. They're seeing like something massive moving in the water, and it's not the sea currents. So I'm like, oh, okay, perfect.
So I know small amount about um, Norse paganism because the Norwegian and Swedish heavy metal scenes, which I'm
Yes,
huge fans of. So, what is Jormungandr?
Jormungandr, the world serpent, the second child of Loki. It is the being that during Ragnarok is the one that kills Thor.
Okay, I know
Uh,
exactly what you're talking about now.
yes. Um, if you've ever played, granted, you said you don't have time to play games because of work and everything like that, but the God of War, the new God of War games that came out for the PS4, PS5, uh, show him in there, and he's massive in that game. And but if you ever do any like research into actual Norse paganism, and you see that Jormungandr is large enough to wrap around the world like 6 times.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's insane. And the fact that I've witnessed that, although to my knowledge, my first ever experience with the supernatural happened whenever I was in middle school. My older brother and his buddies, they had already been out of high school for a little bit, but they decided to take me out during summer break to one of the uh, graveyards in my hometown area. Your buddy who lives close by in Carbondale, Illinois, will know this. Ava Blacktop in the cemetery there has a big old church bell. that and has it written on the plaque and everything like that. That legend has it, if you ring the bell and you get three chimes out of it, there are spirits nearby. So, a bunch of folks have been out of high school for a few years at this point, taking, a 13-year-old out into a cemetery in the middle of the evening, in the middle of the night, in the middle of summer. Uh, they were the entire time they were trying to get me to ring the bell and everything like that. Everyone's sitting there trying to ring the bell and it's not wanting to ring. And I eventually, and it's getting close to midnight, and then I finally go, you know what, fine. I go over there and I just barely shove this thing, and it just goes dong dong dong. I'm looking around. I have no idea what the hell's going on. I didn't know about the history about this place until afterwards. But so I'm gonna tell you what I remember, and then I'm gonna tell you what they said happened. So
Okay.
what I remember is we start running back to the cars. The cars were probably about 50, 60 yards from where this bell was. So, for anyone who's played football, that's, you know, especially for a 13-year-old and you're trying to run surrounded by folks, it's a little bit of a jog, especially if there's, graves and everything in the way. But so as we're running, I trip and fall, and as I'm getting up, I see a guy in a blood red suit with a blood red vest and tie with a top hat, pitch black hair, and eyes darker than anything I'd ever seen in my life. My I'm trying to get up. I'm like, hey, we need to get out of here. We need to get out of here. We make it to the car. I'm feeling fine, everything like that. And then I turn and I look out the window, and the guy is right there. And he goes, and I not so much here like physically, but it was more like in my head. It was like, I've seen you, you've seen me. One day we'll meet again. What they said happened was as we were running, I just passed out. And not even 3 seconds after they picked me up and got me into the car, I shot up screaming.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No.
Yeah.
And one of the things, I did a little bit of research when I was older about that, and apparently that was one of the depictions of a crossroads demon,
Cool.
who also they also like to take in another form of basically, a form that Lucifer, Satan, whoever you want to say, likes to take. And as I was like, oh, perfect. And then one that's not as entertaining. I was at the Wiley House there in San Diego, which is a well-known haunted house there in San Diego, and I was taking pictures, and I on my old phone, which I don't have anymore because the phone decided to die on me, and I couldn't get the pictures off of it. Was a picture of clear as day, a ghost that you could see on the picture, but that was not there in like Victorian era clothing. So
Yeah.
those are the ones that
So
I've those are the ones I've experienced.
my town has like haunted ghost tours because it's been around since early 1800s. But I mean, I've never heard anyone say that like anything crazy happened. Probably the weirdest thing that ever happened though was me and my buddy were walking from one bar across town to the to another bar because we were too drunk to drive, like hammered.
Yeah,
And he stopped in Pioneer Cemetery to take a pee. I'm like,
take
that's
a
a
leak.
bad idea. You shouldn't do that. And like walking out, he rolled his ankle really bad to where like I had to like help carry him. And he's like a good foot taller than me and probably has 150 pounds on me. And I'm like being his crutch. And I'm just like, I told you you shouldn't pee in the cemetery. This ghost kicked your ass, man. He's like, stop saying that. I'm like, no, it's true. But I was just like hammered and fucking with him.
Oh, dude, and the amount of people don't realize that, except for like the newest Navy ships, like all the ones from like Vietnam and World War II that are still actually no, none of them from World War II are still around, but like from Vietnam and everything like that, a lot of those old ships are still haunted.
Can you believe it?
Oh yeah,
There's fuck, which one's in Buffalo? Yeah, there's one in Buffalo, but I mean it's starting to sink at the moment.
oh yeah, the reserve fleet because they don't
No, no,
maintain
it's an
them.
old World War II ship, and it just started like sinking over the summer, and so it's like listing really bad to starboard at the moment. It's like 45 degrees, and they're like they won't let anyone like below decks.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that they haven't gotten any commercial divers out there to try to drain it and patch the hole.
Uh, think they're just like trying to get funds or whatever. But I mean, I don't know.
Well,
Like I read this recently, but it was from the summer, and then the article I read was from like September. So it's probably doing better by now.
who knows? But and so what do you do for work now anyway, aside from this?
Yeah, I don't get paid for this. So I do a really fun form of environmental cleanup that involves soil and groundwater, and we heat it up with electricity, either using the ground as a resistor or we're putting basically an oversized toaster element into the ground and steaming out all the contaminants that we can and either burning them off in a thermal oxidizer or capturing them in activated carbon.
Okay, yeah. If you guys did that at Crab Orchard, like you guys would be there for like 100 years, because so Crab Orchard Lake is the big lake there by Carbondale that you probably drove across if your buddy took you to Marion or anything like that. And there that was actually one of the main areas for like a World War II munitions factory. And
Okay.
there is a ton of basically byproduct waste that they just dumped into the lake. Like, I refuse to eat anything out of that lake after learning about that. Like, the last time I had anything ate anything out of that lake was, I want to say, like 5. I was 5 years old, so it's been like 26 years since I've ate anything out of that lake.
So it depends on what it is, because the technology is kind of limited to like anything that can be steamed, pretty much like change phase from a liquid to a gaseous
I guess.
state. Yeah. And so like that's the limiting factor is, what the contaminant does. So like heavy metals we're not doing, but like dry cleaning solvents and gasoline, uh, things like that, like
Yeah,
all day, every day.
yeah, no.
Also, the new
And
big
then
thing is have you heard of PFAS, the forever chemical?
yes, you
PFOA,
mean the thing that
PFAS.
yeah, you mean the stuff that was in all of our food and everything that we handled in the military?
The thing that's literally, used as every release agent for every piece of plastic used everywhere at any time since the invention of fucking plastic.
Yep.
Yeah, like it's already in you. They're like, yeah, so we're gonna start cleaning this stuff. Oh, it's also used the ever living fuck out of in AFFFs, aqueous film forming foams that
Yeah,
you
which
get to
is why
use
there's a
on ship
huge
or near aircraft.
yeah, yeah, so both of us. Yay. Yeah, so by the time if we make it to, 70, there's going to be the well, actually no, they already have the commercials about that. Have you been exposed to AFFF foam while in the Navy or as a firefighter or the military or anything like that? And then there's those of us who are like, shit. But if we're not, you know, showing signs of cancer or anything from that, they're not going to do anything for us.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Although, shit, what was the one? The 3M earplugs?
Oh,
My buddy actually got 10 grand out of that. I'm like, what the fuck?
yeah, no, and the funny thing is like I had people tell me that I should apply for that. I'm like, the thing is that I wasn't given those 3M Combat, those double-sided earplugs. The earplugs that we had issued to us were those little fucking orange foamies with the green tips on the end of them. And then
Hmm.
we were told to purchase our own muffs and everything like that, or to purchase our own earplugs.
Huh.
Yeah, we didn't have earplugs issued to us. They were just the disposable foamy ones that we just used and tossed over the side.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so I didn't qualify for that because apparently they're like, yeah, no, you have to prove that you were issued these and everything like that. I was like, yeah, I wasn't issued earplugs while I was in the Navy.
I don't
But
remember being issued earplugs, but apparently my best friend was. And I'm like,
yeah,
we did the same shit. Like, okay.
yeah. No, apparently some people they were really strict on like combing through to make sure that they used them, and other ones are like, yeah, no, here you go. Granted, I also had to fight to get my hearing damage rating from the VA. Even though what I did, it was literally it was like, hey, yeah, I was around like basically ship mounted artillery, which if you've ever been around that, no amount of hearing protection is going to protect you, especially when the shockwave of the gun going off hurts your entire body when it goes through. Earplugs aren't going to protect against that.
Yeah, so I've seen the pictures from above a battleship where they're shooting the three main guns at once, and there's the three big shockwaves on the water, and the boat's doing this.
Yeah,
And I'm
that's
like,
why. Yeah, with the battleships, that's why whenever those were being shot, nobody was supposed to be topside.
I could see that. That
Yeah,
sounds like an
and
instant full body concussion.
oh yeah, yeah, no. I think it's on my Facebook. I have a video of it of where I was videoing our 3-inch gun being shot with three shots going off, and yeah, that shockwave hurts your entire body. And there's, I think that's the biggest reason why we don't use like the 16-inch guns anymore, like what they had on the battleships. I think the biggest one we currently use is the 5-inch. Although, granted, with the new DDG 1000s, they have railguns on them now, or at least like a few of them do. I don't know which ones have them. I was not allowed to put in for the school for that because they're like, oh no, you have to be a special person, yada yada yada. Typical military BS.
You tell them I am special.
Yeah,
Of
but
course I'm
when you're
special. I'm in the military.
yeah.
Very
yeah,
special.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, we're very special, very very special. And the wife just got done giving the soon-to-be 1-year-old a bath. What
Nice.
was he having fun in the bath?
Does he have a toy battleship for the bath?
Not yet.
I think we know we needs to get him for his 1 year birthday.
I'm on a podcast right now. The wife's like, she needs
Tell him
help. I'm
you're
like,
winning the death off.
I think with that statement, I'm probably going to lose the death off because she's probably going to kill me.
Well, if you're the first one to die, you do lose, but also then she has to raise the child on its own, on her own.
Yes, children, because I have two
So,
boys.
well, two boy. Well, then that makes you both losers. Then nobody wins from her killing you. So
Yeah,
that's the ace in the hole you got.
yeah. But yeah, no. So I know the one thing that I mentioned to you is that we're also both fans of conspiracy theories. Which one's your favorite?
Yes. The hollow moon.
Ooh, that is a good one.
Yes. So the
Yeah,
moon is
no,
hollow, and it's actually a base for aliens to harvest souls, so that they can feast on our souls, because that's what they use as rep. These are the reptilians. That's what the reptilians feed off of, is our souls. So there's a collection monolith on the moon, and that's what actually acts as an antenna attractor for our souls when we die. And
and
like,
also why we have never
instead of
gone
like,
back to the moon.
um, I believe that they shot something at the moon, or they accidentally hit the moon with something for some reason. And, it just basically acted like a bell and reverberated instead of a solid object. And that's when this conspiracy theory came into being. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
oh my God.
yeah. AKA going into the moon isn't real.
Yes, so the moon is hollow, and it's a secret alien base.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones is the civilizations before humans.
Okay.
Or basically, we've had multiple civilizations and everything like that because like because there have been ones that they've immediately hidden about, like where they found like 8 tracks in so far down that they should not have been able to find them, like completely encased in earth, and like that should not be here. Or
Were
I
they
think it
able
was
to play
one.
it?
God, I don't know, but there was one that they where they had also sent out one of the rovers to one of the moons of Jupiter, and whenever it was going around, and they found like modern boot prints on the planet, or on the moon. They're like, hey, don't tell anyone about this. Somebody leaked it, of course, and they're like, oh no, 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 that's not real. One theory that I came up with myself whenever I was in middle school that immediately got laughed at by my teacher was life on Venus, that probably that evolved to either withstand the acid rain and the squelching heat and everything like that they have there, or they went underground to escape their own greenhouse gas effect and everything. So, Typical
I
teachers,
don't find
laughing
that
at
one
people.
so far-fetched because of extremophiles.
Yeah, but
I
then
mean,
then again, public schools teachers, laugh at anybody who thinks outside the box.
well, there was a few that were, nice and fun and crazy out by me, where you could
Yeah.
say things like
No.
that to them, and they'd be like, "Yeah, man, that's cool."
Oh yeah. No. My eighth grade science teacher, he was like that. It was my sixth grade science teacher that basically laughed at me and said I was stupid for thinking about that or for thinking like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I had one of them too in middle school. But no, I
I'm
can
pretty sure we
see.
all did.
Yeah, was your middle school science teacher like crew cut and a tie? Almost looked like a fat version of the guy from what was that movie with Michael Douglas, Falling Down?
No, mine was not fat, but definitely not in shape. Crew cut, yes. Taller, but he was also like a basketball coach.
Mm.
But he was also a bit of a dick. So there was that. Granted, I'm also from bumfuck nowhere, Southern Illinois originally. So
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
My middle school science teacher, that was him. He kind of looked like a fatter version of Michael Douglas in Falling Down, and he loved Tabasco sauce, so he had Tabasco sauce ties.
nice.
So he was at least interesting, and he had some fun bits about him. But then other times he could be like, "Hey, you're not in it." I'm like, "Ah, fine." But looking back, I'd be like, "Yeah, I guess you should be like that," with me being a little hooligan rapscallion bitch. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Have you ever had any experience with a doppelganger?
I haven't seen them personally, but other people have been like, "I saw someone that looked exactly like you."
No. I While I was still in the Navy, my older brother sent me a link to one of the towns near where I'm from in Southern Illinois, and it was about somebody who got arrested. He goes, "What the fuck? I thought you were in San Diego." And I was like, What do you mean I am? I'm still in the Navy." He goes, "No." Then he was like, "No, read the link. Go to the link that I sent you." He sent me a link. The son of the mayor of this town got arrested for like drug possession and a bunch of other shit. I looked at the picture. It was, aside from being like drug addict, like skinny, it looked exactly like me. I was like, whoa.
That's wild.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't have the link for that anymore. But I was, I saw, it, I was like, there's no way that is no, like somebody from like 3 hours away looking like he like could have been my twin. And it was insane. Like I've legitimately seen someone who looks exactly like me, and it was weird.
Yeah, I haven't had that. I've had, people who've been like, I thought I was like talking to you from like behind, and they turned around and it only kind of looked like you, and like saw someone from 50 feet away that kind of looked like you, dude. I'm like, oh, well, it wasn't me. But I haven't had any experience like that. Dude, you got a lot of crazy, like, awesome experiences where it's just
Oh,
like,
dude, I almost
yeah,
died whenever I was at commercial diving school back in 2019.
okay.
Yeah, it was during
Surprised you weren't in the water after seeing the Ormagander.
oh yeah. Yeah, I don't have I don't know what the fear, the phobia it is, but the like I think it's like what, thalassophobia or some shit like that. But yeah, no, I understand that there's some scary shit out there, but I'm also that dumbass that I'm like, fuck it, I want to see it.
Okay.
But so yeah, we were at I was at commercial diving school up in Seattle back in 2019, and we were in our last module of schooling, and we were coming up from, I think it was like 140 feet down. And how they did it at the school is basically you're basically on an underwater elevator, and we're just sitting there, and we're coming up to one of our decompression stops, and the guys who were handling my hose kept pulling it up, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, start yanking for them to give me a line, and I'm yelling into my microphone on my helmet, my dive hat. Basically, I'm like, "Hey, give me slack! You got to pull me off of the platform." And then I'm sitting there, I'm yelling it at this point. They're like, "Dude, quit yelling!" I'm like, "They're pulling me up past the fucking decompression stop, and by the time I'm there, you know the scene from Captain America: Winter Soldier where he's holding onto the helicopter in the flight deck of the helipad.
Yep.
I'm basically doing that with the from like the top of this elevator while like trying to pull on my line. And thankfully, one of the guys who was on the platform came over there and grabbed onto my harness and started pulling me back down. And that is like the third closest I've come to dying, to my knowledge.
Huh.
Yeah, because if when it comes to diving, when you're supposed to do a decompression stop and they don't do it, it can end very very badly.
Yes.
Yeah, I like
So
that was the bends. You don't fuck with decompression sickness or any of the things related to not decompressing properly.
so my sister was a hospital corpsman for the Navy, and she did well, first she was a reservist, so like she got to do really fun stuff for a reservist. So first she went on the USNS Mercy, and that's how she got her shell back. And what's the other one?
The I
Shell
think it's the
back and
and then there's the golden shellback ones where you just cross the equator, and then your golden shellback when you've also crossed the international date line. But then there's a special one if you hit 0000.
I think she's just the golden shellback. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
she hit the international date line too. Uh, but yeah, they had, but the reason she got, I believe, the shellback is because they had to go pick up a Navy SEAL that had the bends, and the USNS Mercy had, the decompression chamber on it for him. So she's like, yeah, so that's how I got my shell back. And I'm just like, yeah, she's like, so yeah, and that guy had it really bad too. I'm like, oh, I believe it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially because doing a lot of stuff that they do, they don't necessarily have the luxury of doing the proper decompression stops
Mhm.
like they're supposed to, especially because if they're on a time frame.
Yeah, so they were all I know is they were loading and unloading from a submarine and like
Oh yeah,
off
yeah, they
the
were doing their
submarine onto a Mercy.
yeah, because yeah, they were probably doing their thing where they launched out of the seal delivery vehicle and then doing their stuff with that, going back and whatnot, and probably whoever was in charge of piloting the submarine also wasn't given the memo, but like, hey, also don't go above a specific depth because we have guys who have been out in the water and weren't in the pressurized area of the submarine. So
Yep, probably something similar to that.
or whenever they came back in because basically the water pressure from wherever they get in and out of the seal delivery vehicle because they actually have to pressurize it with air to get it back to 1 atmosphere. That whoever was in charge of that probably wasn't paying attention and did it quicker than they were supposed to, or maybe the seal was just you know you know rushed things because those guys tend to do that. Although
On time, on
probably never
target,
did.
mission accomplishment.
Yep. Uh, have you ever heard the story about the guy who was working on a like decommissioning an old oil rig off of England? That
No.
Oh, okay, yeah, we learned about this when I was at dive school. So they were on a boat. They were sat diving, so they were down, like a few hundred to a few thousand. It was like I think it was like 350 feet, if not deeper. But they were basically trying to decommission this old oil well that they had out there. And the ships out that when they're diving that deep, ships have basically this geo positioning program on their ship that keep them planted in one position no matter the state of the water. But apparently it broke and it started drifting. And as they were trying to get back to the dive bell, that guy's line got caught on something. So he was trying to go back to get it and untangle it. And his other in a situation like that, it's not like, oh no, you both stay down there and try to help it. It's not like, no, if anyone's gonna die, it's better one than both. So the other guy gets back to the dive bell, and the guy who's in the dive bell bringing in the lines and everything like that. All of a sudden, he notices that the other guys just go slack, and he brings it in, and was snapped. It just, ripped apart. So that guy that was down there, he was really smart about this because he immediately started getting cold because he was no longer getting hot water pumped into his suit to keep him warm. So what he did was he went over to the well, tied himself off with the rope that was mixed in with his whole umbilical and everything like that. Which the umbilical is the stuff that the airline, the hot water line, all that stuff for commercial diving. So he basically took that, tied himself off to the well site, turned on his emergency scuba tank, and waited. He knew he was gonna die, but so he's there, and they were able to get the ROV, or the remote operated vehicle, basically as a remote controlled submarine, down there to find him. And as they got down there, they were basically they showed. Actually, I might be able to pull this on YouTube so you can actually see it. It's better to show than here.
Tell?
Yeah. Let me see if this is. Found it. Yes. Let me. This right here.
Oh,
It was this guy right here. Let me. Actually, that isn't. This might be it. Nope, that's not it. Yeah, because I've actually seen it. I've actually seen the video whenever I was at dive school. I guess that is it. There we go.
man.
There it is. That's actual video from the ROV too.
Woo. Oh man,
Yeah, that's actually pictures from the video.
that's the dude.
Like,
Holy shit, is he alive?
that's not actually him, but
Oh,
so during the actual video, if I can actually find it, I'll send you the legitimate video of it. But like during the video that we saw, you actually see he's like kind of floating, like his legs are kind of up and everything like that, and you actually see him like start shaking, like basically him suffocating and then dying. They were able once they were able to get the ship back into position. They sent one of the divers out there, and they got him back into the dive bell, and were actually able to resuscitate him. And because of the cold and everything like that, there was it actually was in his favor that happened. They were able to get to him because it actually prolonged how long they had to actually revive him.
mhm.
But one of the instructors that I had at that school, they were like, and you know damn well that that man got a big paycheck after that happened.
Yes. Holy fuck. So when you had your screen up, you had another tab that said
Oh
conspiracy
yeah,
theories.
yeah, yeah. That's the picture that I sent you.
Oh, yeah. The Titanic iceberg of conspiracy theories.
Yep, the ultimate conspiracy theory iceberg.
Yes.
Yes, and I there's multiple different ones. That was one from Reddit. There's another one from icebergcharts.com, the mega conspiracy theory iceberg. So here, if you want, I can actually share that as well.
Yeah, bring it on.
So BEKs, UFOs, GMOs, dude, the Antarctica theory, I love.
Which one?
So my the one that basically shows that there's that a path to Hollow Earth is through Antarctica, and that they actually found a pocket of fresh water under Antarctica, and they sent like an ROV in a sense down there, and they were videoing it, and they were seeing like creatures from the Cretaceous period still alive down there.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one of them. Huge fan of that one. Uh, and then here we go. The surface level 32 enigmas of really basically that's like New World Order stuff.
All right. All right.
MK Ultra, we all know about MK Ultra. The CIA, they're still doing it
That's
today.
not really a conspiracy theory anymore.
Yeah.
That's kind of
The
proven.
Giants. The Giants, though, that is one I'm a
North
big fan of,
America or
especially
India?
Afghan.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
that was not those are a good one.
Yeah, the Giants of Afghanistan, and also the fact that in some of the documents that were leaked from Hillary Clinton's whole thing, there were emails of her asking about the Nephilim and everything like that from Afghanistan and the giant bodies that they found. Oh my god, dude! Like the fact that there are guys, especially in the special operations community, that have like since then they've been out and everything like that. They have confirmed they're like, yeah, no, we saw some things over there that made no sense. And like my biggest thing is like you have to purposely completely deny things to not believe in some of these things, because just because it hasn't been proven by science just means that it hasn't been proven yet.
So I'm looking at one right on there, multiverse, and that's not really a conspiracy theory in my opinion.
That, yeah, that's more of
That's
like a
just a scientific
theory.
theory.
Yeah, that's a scientific theory.
And
It,
where that one gets really fun is when you start going into M theory and P theory, which is part of quantum theory. And is it quantum theory or is it something else? But basically, those other dimensions are folded up, and then there's membranes, and then as the membranes move and smack together, and boom, when they hit like that, that's how the Big Bang formed, and then another reality moved into that space.
yep.
And that's us. We're in that reality currently.
Yeah, dude, I hate the timeline that we're on personally.
Mhm. See, I'm more
Ever
of a
since
fan of
Harambe,
simulation theory. Yeah,
I've looked into that one as well. So here's the weirdest one. Uh, both early 2019 and then also during the very beginnings of COVID. What is one thing that you noticed that you didn't really see flying around? Birds. Think about it. You did not see any birds outside during the beginning stages of COVID, nor during the beginning parts of 2019.
I actually did because I was working outside.
Fair. The clown sightings, that was just, dumbasses dressed up as clowns.
Yeah, so my town is a college town, and there was a few of them here, and it was just kind of like, "Mm." Then the kibosh was put on them real quick because small redneck town.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I just saw one where this dude was walking up dressed up as a clown to a hunter who was in a tree stand with a bow, and he pulled out a kitchen knife. I'm sorry, but like if I'm out there hunting in a stand, I'm not gonna pull out my video. Like I'd probably have a GoPro on my chest instead of pulling out my phone. But if a dumbass walks out dressed up as a clown and pulls out a knife and starts walking towards me, I'm not giving him a warning. I'm just shooting him right then and there.
That's a good plan.
Yeah. Terra the android. That is a good one.
What is that?
Okay, so you know that that female looking robot that actually has intelligence to it?
I do believe I have, yes.
Yeah, that so that goes into a lot of the other AI thing. It's a big reason why I don't like AI personally, mainly because how many different forms of media have shown that it's not a matter of if, it's only a matter of when AI will decide to take over.
Mhm. Oh, no, I agree.
And
I think it's a bad thing too.
yeah, and I also just went through like cybersecurity IT school from November to February, basically using the vet tech program. And with that, basically, because Terra also now has a partner who is also a robot AI, and the fact that Terra
Just
doesn't
like
have a
before.
yeah, hold on, let me pull this up. Get my keyboard back out. Okay, wait. Oh, that's no, that's not the one I was thinking of. Thinking of somebody else. Yeah, Terra the android was apparently that the I Feel Fantastic singing person. I'm thinking of a different android. Android then. Huh.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like a newer one
Yeah,
that like,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Where
pretty
she
much
didn't
has a
have hair, where
face.
it was just like the computer in her head, and now
Yeah.
she has hair covering it and everything.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Uh, Another big one I'm a big fan of is alchemy. How like what's the biggest thing that you've noticed with specific with modern medicine nowadays? How they've been moving away from more like natural holistic medications and more into the petroleum based medications.
Yes.
Yet, uh, what would you yourself? What would be the first thing that you would do if you got a really bad burn? What would you put on it?
Aloe.
No, I'm talking like not like a sunburn, but like a burn, like a fire or something like that, like super hot.
Oh, that's so there's stuff that a welder friend of mine gave me once. It's silver something, silver
Colloidal silver.
sulfadiamine. No, it's not colloidal. It's like silver sulfadiamine or something
Yeah,
similar to that.
if you ever burn yourself again, try using pure lavender oil.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know I was told
So
by former friends that like cooked in like industrial kitchens and stuff that when they get burned from like grease fires and like not grease fires, like grease splattering at them, so they'll get like good sized things. Mustard, just regular
yeah,
yellow mustard. They swear by it.
but so my mom actually went to school and got her associates in natural healing, like back in like the 70s, 60s. no, sorry, my mom was born in the 60s, so it was like the 80s that she did that, and then she also tried pursuing it more later in like the 90s and 2000s. But she was actually researching about a alchemist from back in the day, and one time he had somehow burned his entire arm, like up to, or his hand or his arm or something like that. And he wasn't thinking, he just dunked his hand into one of his vessels that had, a liquid in there, and the pain immediately went away. And then it turned out it was pure lavender oil. And we my this my one of my oldest boy was about 2.5, 3. He had a cup of ramen that was like super super hot, and he spilled it on his legs. I'm talking like some pretty nasty first degree burns on his legs. And my mom had sent us some lavender oil, and I was putting it on there. And you and I and a bunch of other people know that usually whenever you get a burn like that, it's going to take, like a few weeks for it to heal. It's going to blister up, it's going to peel and everything like that. We put that lavender oil on him, and within like 2 days, it was already scabbed over.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So, like, legitimate alchemy, the studying of how different elements and minerals and, basically, like natural ingredients can work with each other and everything like that is like, it's an art form that needs to come back, personally, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd be down with that.
Yeah. Hitler escaped inside the earth. No, he escaped to Argentina.
Yes, I agree with that.
The sixth extinction, don't know too much about that. The missing children force, that's a big one, especially with you being for like doing environmental cleanup and everything like that. Um, that one goes
Yeah, I know like a
into,
Japanese suicide forest.
yeah, no, this is actually here in the United States at the national parks,
Ooh.
where like parents and families will be out, going on hikes and everything like that, and then their kids will just vanish, and then they'll turn up like a week later, like nothing happened, or they just never find them. But they find their clothes like perfectly fine, folded up in a spot just in the middle of fucking nowhere in the national park.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah. Thunderbird photos, that goes into the like the giant birds that were supposed to be in the United States back in like the pre-colonial slash before America expanded out of the original 13 colonies.
Mhm.
Online video game monitoring, that's a legit thing. They already do that. We already know that.
Of course they're monitoring you. You're online.
Yeah. The sea people is one thing I definitely believe in, because my biggest thing is like with, how they say Atlantis was more based over there like in Greece and everything like that. Uh
Yeah.
I think it was located in a very similar spot as to like the Bermuda Triangle, personally,
Mhm.
because the Bermuda Triangle isn't the only place on Earth over the ocean that also has that same phenomena and everything like that.
So I've heard the Bermuda Triangle for Atlantis, and I've also heard, since like the shape of it is like lenticular and ring based, there's like an eye in the Sahara, like it
Yeah.
looks like an eye. And like from the best they can tell, that like it shouldn't be there. There's no good reason for it to be like where it is in the Sahara, and it like has all like
And then also looking at the
perfections of
satellite
man-made
stuff,
features.
you could see where water had once flowed through there too.
Yeah. Yeah. So like on one hand, I like that. On the other hand, I'm like, but the Bermuda Triangle one is just so much more fun for me because of like all the
Oh yeah.
weirdness about the Bermuda Triangle. And they're
And
just like, oh, it's all this seaweed messing with the magnets of people's like whatever the hell they were back
seaweed
in
doesn't
the day.
do that. Like, it wouldn't be affecting
So
airplanes. Like, there's a reason why planes don't go through the Bermuda Triangle.
so from what I heard, it was. uh, before we had like a lot better systems and stuff in aircraft, like, like radar and stuff like that. So they knew like their level, like the seaweed would just like off gas like a fog pretty much. So that when they flew over it, they're like, I can't see. Let's try and get under it. Let's try and get under it. Next thing you know, they're in the water. That's what I've heard. I don't know the truth to that. The
Yeah.
point of no return. What is going on here?
Oh yeah, no, that apparently. So we have the eighth continent. Haven't heard about that one.
Ooh,
Uh, animal plant hybrids. Maybe the Marv slave colonies sounds interesting.
it does.
Dream hacking also look that could be like a hybrid between what is the it was up here. Hold on, I saw it. It was astral projection. Yeah, astral projection mixed with basically entering into, because one of the theories is that basically astral wavelengths also operate on the same wavelengths as like radio signals and stuff like that, to where it would mean that you could enter into like computer systems that are Wi-Fi transferred.
Hmm. Finland doesn't
Uh,
exist.
wait, England doesn't exist.
Finland doesn't
Where's
exist.
that one?
That's all the way to the right in the center.
Oh, that one's funny. The captivity suburbs, that does make sense, because very few people have I met that have lived in a suburb actually left a suburb, like moved out. Oh, the missus.
Yeah, ladies walking in.
Aha,
Earlier, she stopped and showed me her boobs.
nice.
She's like, "Hey,"
Yeah, the
and I was like,
driver
"What?"
killed JFK. I mean, that is one of the
Yeah,
theories that
that's
goes into
got
it,
a
because like that's going into a whole different rabbit hole.
that is a definitely a new rabbit hole.
Yeah. Going into with the atomic renovation and everything like that, my biggest thing is like up until Chernobyl, like we were like, if we had not stopped progressing with nuclear energy in the 60s and 70s, I think that we would be a lot farther ahead in technology than we are now if nuclear energy had been allowed to properly progress and grow more. Because like
So, what do you
just
think it
un-
is that actually killed nuclear energy?
oh, it was 100% politicians and big oil.
I agree. Probably coal to a certain extent too.
Yeah, coal to a certain
Coal was
extent
still
as
big back
well.
then.
Yeah, because did you know that we just recently got to the point where they can actually use nuclear waste to generate more energy?
Yes.
Yeah, and think, and that's because nuclear energy has started to come back. Like we, because nuclear energy was stagnant for the longest time, and they just now started going back more into it, mainly because with like nuclear energy is like the greenest energy we can literally do. It's just, granted, if it goes wrong, it goes really wrong.
Oh yeah. The other thing too is that the nuclear waste they can use to make more nuclear weapons. But the problem is that we're not supposed to be making more nuclear weapons.
Yeah. There's a
So
new
then it
one.
becomes, well, what do we do with this waste? Japan did not. Oh my God. I want to know that one now. I have to look it up. Then I have to send it to a friend of mine.
Yeah. Okay. This one just makes me sad.
What? Dog suicide bridges?
Yeah.
That's not cool.
Oh, Stonehenge in Guatemala. I've heard about that one.
Oh, I've heard about that too.
Yeah, because like if I'm not mistaken, like where Stonehenge is and where Guatemala is, it's like they're legitimately polar opposites to each other, just like the North and South Pole.
Would it be?
Pretty close.
Guatemala is what, Central America?
Central South America. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say it's central because it's not. I know the northern part of South America is like French Guiana, aka Suriname, Colombia, Nicaragua. Then it goes to
Oh,
Panama.
here's one that would mess with Trip.
90% of books are written by one author. Uh,
uh, all right, Fire is Alive. I wholeheartedly believe that because there have been times where like there was no way fire should have come at me, and it came right fucking at me.
I like that one. Mail
Oh, here you
Adventure.
go.
RuneScape.nyc.
All right, yeah. So the Yellow King goes into like with the Lovecraft kind of stuff, but he's also like pre-Lovecraft. Like it's the Yellow King, the King in Yellow. That's like going into like cryptid kind of stuff.
So speaking of
Oh, here you
cryptids,
go. Here you go. This is
have
going
you
into
ever
with
looked
the
up? Oh, this sounds like my Hollow Moon shit. The
Yep.
Bank of Souls. Yeah, we keep them
But yeah, what we're gonna
reptilians.
ask?
Have you ever looked up the Native American cryptids for your area?
Oh, dude. I did that
Like
big time
lore
up in
theories
when
on them?
oh yeah, dude. There's specifically in Southern Illinois, we have the Big Muddy Monster, which is
Okay.
like which is like Bigfoot, but for the Midwest. Um, Also the fact that they are similar, like a lot of the cryptids for the Native Americans are similar to each other, but they also have their own regional differences, which do make sense.
Mhm.
Um, my biggest one that because like also depending on the tribe that you're talking to, a skinwalker could be two completely different things. Because my mother, who mainly focused on like her Sioux and Cherokee heritage from one, I can't remember which side of her family, but the for there the skinwalkers were the shamans that could put on an animal skin and change to that animal to do their spirit journeys and everything like that. Where the vast majority of people, when you think skinwalker, you think you know 12-foot tall bipedal animal monstrosity that'll mimic your voice and eat you and everything like that. But that one's actual name is called a Nagaloshi. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think there's something similar to that, like in my area, and I did like a couple of days worth of reading on it one day, and then I'm like, I haven't walked my dog in a while. And at that time, I had a dog that was part pit bull, part Jack Russell, and needed constantly to be moving because he was a fucking psychopath, but I loved him. So I'd take him out on the trails and we'd do like this 10-mile trail, go down and back. And yeah, that day I think I went in like a mile and I went, I'm a little too freaked out today. And we're turning
Oh,
around now,
dude,
Gary. My dog's name was
dude,
Gary.
no. Whenever you're walking through the woods and then you're hearing all the insects and everything out, and then like 30 seconds later, it just goes dead quiet, and you're just like,
Yes.
walk out, stop, empty your pants real quick, keep going,
No, that
or
was
just
one of
as you're
those
walking.
days. It was like overcast, way too fucking quiet. And I'm just like, I don't like this.
Yeah, and then you're like, I don't have a big enough gun on me.
Definitely did not that day. I think I only had my 22. And I'm like, what is
Yeah.
this going to protect me from? Nothing. Although another time, like I didn't even make it past the trailhead because I pulled up to the parking lot and the county, I think it was DEC, had chained a leg of a cow to like the trail post and then posted a camera to it so they could see what the hell was like in the area.
You're
And
like,
I'm like,
nope.
I just looked down at one of the paw prints, obvious cat paw print, big as my hand, maybe a little bigger, and I'm like, Gary, we're not going to win this today. We're going. And they're like, oh yeah, don't worry. There's not what are they called? Mountain lions in the area. I'm
Yeah,
like,
cougars.
Yeah, that's a really big fucking paw print to not be a fucking mountain lion.
Oh yeah,
Like
dude, and
we
like
didn't see
like
any
they,
other
they keep
cameras. I'm like,
denying and
oh,
denying that they have the, like they had they there was shortly before I moved back to Southern Illinois after my time in the military, they kept denying and denying and denying that there weren't bears in the area again after they had been denying for years that there were bobcats. And they're telling people like, no, I shot and fucking killed this thing on my fucking property last week. But then people went out there and they literally found like fresh paw prints from a bear as well as the claw marks on the trees, of them marking their territory. And they called out Fish and Game and they're like, yeah, there's a fucking bear here. They're like, no, they're not. And then they brought them down to the paw print and the fucking scratch marks on the tree. They're like, oh, okay, yeah. And then someone literally shot and killed one that was attacking one of its cows.
yeah. So I don't know how
So
much longer New York can deny that mountain lions are here when Pennsylvania's like, oh yeah, they're definitely here, and like Pennsylvania's like, 10 miles.
wait, hold up. Quickly turn around. Where are we? Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Please get us out of here. Help. Help. Oh. I am definitely going to send you this so you have other things to talk about with others as well, because that is going to be interesting. But so I forgot what book of trips are you on to now?
I just finished 7.
Oh, dude, that one was I loved how that one ended personally. I also like how he nonchalantly explained what happened between books 3 and 7,
Yep.
just so nonchalantly with Doc in that one.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed that. I'm like, Doc's a cop? Okay, I guess Doc can be a cop. So yeah, my big day of travel on Sunday when I go back to Alaska is going to be crushing book 8, and then flying back I'll crush book 9.
Very nice. Because I take it you already got your the War Chest Mark II in.
Yeah. You didn't see my unboxing video that I did?
No, I didn't. Granted, also Instagram is Instagram, so
That's true. Well, if you go to my the page for this, the Wonton Wednesday, it's one of the most recent videos. But yeah, like I hold up the war chest and I got a tiny knife. And then I'm like,
oh
ah,
yeah, 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 no,
nope,
I saw
that's
that.
not a
I saw
knife.
that.
I put I pick up the woodsman machete from my grandpa that I got, and I'm like, that's a knife. And I fucking open it with that. I'm like, nice.
Yeah, it's actually one of a twin set. So actually had these custom made from a guy that you can find on Instagram is Cole's Custom Cutlery.
Okay. I
So
think I've heard of him.
and dude, like I'd say probably about like 3 pounds. I've actually got to go through and clean up with one of my wire brushes because I was using it to cut the limbs off of a one of the palm trees out front. And but dude, from 10 feet, I'm throwing those things. I'm like calling my shots with that, and I'm getting like 2 full rotations with it. So, but yeah, no, I have something else that I probably won't pull up because I don't want your video to get flagged by YouTube whenever this goes up.
That would be much appreciated.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe because of the freaking axe, they might do the same thing. But who knows? Because YouTube is weird.
That is a tool cutting or a tree cutting implement. I don't know why we would. Also, I have like 20 or 30 views on every video, so they're not probably worried about me too much.
I mean, Trips got nuked, and he was getting like maybe a few hundred views
Uh,
with his channel that one time. So again, YouTube is weird.
Weird, so you never know. Although I also did get an email to like the podcast email. I don't know. It was sometime between today and coming back on Saturday, and it was like, your podcast is number 4 in Afghanistan. I'm like, what? I get like, and this was on Apple Podcasts. I'm like, I have
Unless
like
it's military guys,
three or
but we're
four.
not in Afghanistan
I have
anymore.
like I have like 3 or 4 like listeners on Apple Podcasts, and I'm like, and I probably know all of them. So I'm like, what the hell are you trying? Like, I'm pretty sure it was like one of those people that was like we're this like whatever
VPNing.
podcast service, and like yeah, they were trying to just like bait me into like giving them money or something. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I call it shenanigans for one, and two, no.
Well, hello, people from Afghanistan. We are the American infidels that you hate.
Yeah, if you guys are listening to this and you can understand this, I want that CH-46 back.
And I would very much like a few of those M4s that you guys were able to get, and maybe a couple of those Humvees. That'd be nice. And maybe a Barrett 50 cal too. Thanks.
If you guys can slide me just whatever, I won't complain.
Yeah. Like, give me at least a couple of those optics, because those optics are, you know, expensive.
Some of those quad barrel nods that you guys don't have batteries for anymore, I got more use for them than you. I'll
Same.
trade you some you guys don't like bacon, so I'll get you
I can send you
bread.
guys a few racks of lamb. Maybe some American sized goats.
Oh, I got it. You're in Texas, so you get them barbecue. I'll get them chicken wings because I'm close to Buffalo. Boom, we'll get some quad barrels.
Oh yeah.
Now we're thinking on all cylinders.
Yeah, and don't worry, it won't be pig that barbecue. I'll send you guys brisket.
But yeah, that's what I meant by Texas.
Yeah.
What
Oh
else do
yeah,
you get
yeah,
for
no.
barbecue in Texas?
Yeah, cuz like dude, being from where I'm from and being used to St. Louis style barbecue, I'm a huge fan of like pulled pork,
Right?
and going down here and like most of the pulled pork is like it's not dry, but it doesn't have like the sauce mixed in with it. So it's, you know, kind of sad about that.
So I was stationed in North Carolina, and I really like the Eastern North Carolina vinegar style.
Dude, oh.
So, oh God, it's just like thin and spicy and flavorful, and it like very vinegary, and I love it because I'm
Oh,
like,
and then
oh, this
when
is
they
good.
make coleslaw there, they actually make legit coleslaw, not that nasty shit that you get from the restaurants.
Yep.
Like, because you get that like that bitter vinegary barbecue sauce from the Carolinas, and if you get one of the pulled pork from there and on a sandwich, and you get the sweet coleslaw that they make there, put that on top of that. Oh my god, it's so good.
Oh fuck yeah. There's also
Uh,
my favorite thing that was in North Carolina, and when I went back, I didn't see any, but it was just random old dudes setting up illegal boiled peanut shops, like just out of like a random four corner out in the fucking woods somewhere. You're
Never
just
been
like,
a fan of boiled peanuts.
I didn't know I was
Never been
until
a
I
fan.
had them.
I had them. Not a fan.
Well, I loved them because, well, hey, we're doing this illegally and fuck the man in taxes. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm already on your side, bro. And then two, like I was hammered and they were just salty and delicious. And I'm just like, I I'm a fan. I will not buy
Yeah. No. The
boiled
bet.
peanuts off a questionable black man at a four corner in the middle of nowhere.
Little do you know that was the Crossroads Demon, and you sold your soul for peanuts.
I'm pretty sure I paid him like $5.
Eh,
Besides, I'm pretty sure my soul's still there because I mean, anytime I walk up to an automatic door, it opens.
yeah. Well, I'd say what's left of your soul, because let's be honest, the Marine Corps did not treat it nicely.
I mean, sandpaper condom and alcohol lube. I was fucked every day.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys had that, and I dealt with a non-skid dildo.
I mean, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
It just says
Although
yours is blue and says
I
Navy down the side.
yeah, except for I personally I would prefer sandpaper over non-skid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
mean,
at
I've
least the
dropped many
sandpaper.
on non-skid many a time.
Yeah, because I'd rather deal with the sandpaper because at least it's only taking away like a layer or two of skin at a time and not just gouging in like 3 inches into the flesh.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know the difference between non-skid that they use like on an aircraft and like, maybe on your steps outside or whatever, and then what they use on the fucking boat, which is like a U-shaped pit, like an inch or half an inch deep, and then it comes to this jagged volcanic fucking point, and it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
that far apart, and you're just like, how the fuck did they do that? And oh my God, you want me to PT on this? Yes, we do. You're
Yeah,
going
no,
to.
but tell you what though, whenever you're walking on the skin of the ship and it's been raining, you ain't slipping off of that.
Oh no, it's fantastic. It works great. It also
Yeah, it's
works
just
great
God
as an
forbid you have to
exfoliant.
fall down on it. Yeah, God
It's the
forbid you have
best
to fall down on it.
unintentional exfoliant in the world.
I mean, you don't have clogged pores if you don't have any pores.
Exactly.
At that point, they're no longer pores, they're scars.
What's the next level of porous? Porous, just oh fuck,
Cavernous.
fuck. Yeah, cavernous. You have a cavernous wound. What happened to you, Marine? Well, I fell on your fucking non-skid.
And then what do? Give you some Motrin, give you some water, and a band-aid if you're a pussy.
Walking off.
Yep.
Also, change your socks.
Yep. Oh, dude, the worst treatment I had at medical. I literally was carried in by guys because my knee gave out when I was going down one of the ladder walls and fell
Yeah,
from the very top.
yeah,
And they brought me in and they're like, "All right." They started doing the whole knee test and everything like that, and I'm trying not to pass out. And then they're like, "All right, here's some Motrin, here's some water." They gave me basically a fucking cheap knee brace with some ace bandage on top of it and sent me back to work. And I'm just like, all right. After falling, basically 10 feet. Because for the people who don't know, like those ladder walls on the ships are at damn near 90-degree angle.
yeah. I would say if they're not, then they are
Yeah,
because
they're like at 80 degree incline slash decline at a minimum.
yeah, it's damn near vertical and it's not handicap
If you
friendly for sure.
Yeah, 100% it isn't. And I mean, that's the biggest reason why I have sciatica is because, granted, when I did fall, I was smart enough to throw myself backwards instead of forward because I'd rather have a fucked up back than being for the rest of my life.
Well, you were going in, so you're safe.
Yeah. Well, hey, I went Navy instead of the Marine Corps, so,
Doesn't matter. What does Navy stand for?
never again volunteer yourself.
Exactly. Never again volunteer yourself. So, did you learn your lesson?
Yes. Uh,
It's okay. My ass rides in Navy equipment.
yep. And then, I think the Army stands for ain't ready for Marines yet.
Yep. And I
And
don't
then
think
there's the
anyone's
chair
smart
force.
enough to come up with one for the Air Force. We're just like, fuck you,
They're
Zuni.
they're 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 just the chair force, plain and simple. They get they live minimum 3-star resort experience year round. Dude, the first and only time I've ever been on the Air Force base was after I got out of the military, and because I got out, had DD 214 in hand, I still had my CAC, and I had it for close to a year. And so my wife and I we drove up to Scott Air Force Base. And when my wife and I drove onto base, we were confused because people were smiling on base. Like they were actually
Which is normal.
happy to be in the military, which was weird. But I'll say this: they were hands on the nicest folks because we got to their the Fast ID place and we walked in. They're like, and we went in to talk with them. And they're like, "Yeah, we don't do walk-ins this day." We were like, "Shit!" We and told them like, "Dude, we just drove 2 hours to get here." And this dude was like, "All right, hold on." We waited for like another 5 minutes. He called us back, got us taken care of, and sent us on our way. Like, if you tried doing that on a Marine, an Army, or Navy base, they would have told you not get fucked, come back later.
Yeah, pretty much. No, I did 2 months on an Air Force base while I was in the Marines. So I worked on the Osprey, but I worked on it when it was going from experimental to fleet operational, 2003 to 2008.
Also, when it only had
So
like 20 KIAs or friendly fires by taking off.
no, there's a few more than that. Prior to me entering service, I think it was either 2000 or 2001 when that one happened, where the two birds went down in on each other. That's the big one that everyone quotes that you're probably thinking of.
No, I'm talking.
The
I was
bigger,
basically making a joke because apparently, like, it's also killed people with taking off and landing without crashing.
I'd have to look those ones up. But the bigger issue that was from those two birds going in on each other was the CO of the unit at the time was highly encouraging people to falsify maintenance records.
Par for the course.
Yes, it was that was that. So, anyways, so we did desert testing evaluation at Nellis Air Force Base. Do you know where that is?
Isn't that in like Nevada?
It is 15 minutes from the Las Vegas Strip.
Area 51,
It
basically.
is. No, that's probably a bit more north. But I mean, like I'm sitting there working and we can see the Las Vegas Strip from the flight line. We're like, no, we're doing when we get out of work. Um, but
Pub crawl.
yeah, so like we would go to like the base bowling alley and like, because the bowling alley has entertainment, bowling, and it's just like the E Club for cheap drinks. So you can get a pitcher of beer for like
Oh
what,
yeah,
like $2 or $3. It was fucking fantastic. So like,
dude,
me
drinking
and a
on
bunch of
base
my
at the
buddies
at
are
the
there.
facilities that had beer was like super cost effective.
Oh yeah. And like, so my tiny ass air station was New River, and there was the E Club walking distance from my barracks. There was the bowling alley walking distance in the other direction from my barracks. Like it was just super fucking close. And like you could get bombed for less than $20.
Oh yeah, dude. That is the one thing that I do appreciate about the military bases is like I've been to bowling alleys across several different states, and they're either super good or maintained terribly. Every single bowling alley I've been to on a military base has been maintained perfectly.
Hmm.
But
And
I
they're also fun.
I never went to any of the E clubs though. I think there was one. There wasn't an E club at 32nd Street in San Diego, but there was one at Great Lakes. But because I wasn't a E4 or above, I technically couldn't go there, which was weird.
So the E Club on my base was basically all enlisted under staff sergeant. And one of my sergeant's wife worked there. So we were
Oh
drinking there underage because she was just like, hey, I know these guys. And basically, like, if we were to do anything dumb, like, we would have got fucking fried for it.
yeah,
Not like, maybe not fried, but like, he would have
double edged
taken
sword.
care of it. Pretty much. He's just like, you're an idiot. Place where my wife works. Come outside, do some dumb shit, get a little hazing in,
Or
and then,
individ
go back to work.
or individually, you guys go into a locked off space and you come out with a black eye or two.
No, he wouldn't have done that. He would have just like made us do like dumb shit and be like, "You gonna do that again? Nope, not gonna do that again." There's other ones that would have given us the black eye and dumb shit, but he wouldn't have. He was cool enough, but and he didn't have to like abuse his rank. He was respected enough.
He was one of those guys that earned the respect that his rank was supposed to get.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
not one of those guys that demanded respect, but you know, earned it. He was one of those guys that both received and reciprocated respect, not just only demanded it and then didn't give it back in return.
Pretty much. That's something one of my favorite sergeants told me when I was like first got to the unit was just like to get respect, you have to give respect. And that was like probably one of the best leadership lessons I ever learned.
Yeah, no, I when I first got to my first command, the E7 mess was pretty good to my knowledge that, because I didn't really interact with a lot of them. But then when my first chief that was in my rate got to our ship, he made chief in like 7 years, or he made E7 in 7 years, which
That's pretty
I'm
fucking
like,
fast.
it's also the Navy,
Ooh,
so eh. But he was like 5 foot 5 foot 4 Hispanic guy who only did upper body workouts. I'm talking like he had chicken legs, and he was a terrible chief. And you know, one day he's turned into me about something that I wasn't even involved in. As E7 tend to do, if they have a guy that they don't like, they try to pin all the blame on that one person. But anyway, he's tearing into me about this. I'm sitting there. I've got the 1,000 yard stare and everything going on, not looking at him, just going, "I chief, I chief, I chief," all that stuff. And he thought I was copping an attitude with him. And then he's like, "You know what, Cup? You want to take the? How about we go do some fan room counseling?" Before I could even say anything, my first class, or the E6 that was there, that was over me, he stopped my chief and he was like, "Chief, you don't want to do that." And he's like, "Oh, what, you afraid I'm gonna hurt Cup?" And then a little bit of backstory is before the Navy, I wrestled in high school. I passed up on a D1 scholarship to Mizzou for wrestling because I was scouted by the scout from Mizzou at an MMA fight that I competed in. So I was also an amateur MMA fighter before shipping out for the Navy. So I had a lot of people tell me I should
nice.
have went
I
in the Marine.
like it.
I had a lot of people tell me I should have shipped out I should have joined the Marines instead of the Navy, because the fact that I like to fight. But so before I had a chance to respond to my chief, that my first class, he goes, "Chief, no, it's not that I'm afraid that you're gonna hurt Cup. It's that I know Cup is gonna hurt you." And he gets an attitude and starts walking on. And he goes, "Chief, just step outside. I'll handle this." And so my chief walks out. My first class looks back to me, and I'm sitting there. I'm looking like a puppy that just had its toy taken away from him. Because what you get out is E5.
I got out as a new four.
Oh hell yeah, E4 Mafia all the way. But
Yeah, man.
yeah, and so anyway, and like, as like, if a senior enlisted wants to do the fan room counseling, or basically taking you out behind the shed to duke it out with them, where rank doesn't matter, especially if you know how to fight and you don't brag about it, you're like, okay. Like, we don't go looking for fights, but if fights find us, we're not gonna say no.
Yeah.
But here's one of my buddies from high school went into the Marine Corps, and he got kicked out of the Marine Corps. You want to know for what?
Of
Fighting.
course. Which makes no
He got
sense.
kicked out of the Marine Corps for fighting. Makes no fucking sense. But
Was he fighting the wrong people?
uh he got into a fight with an officer that put their hands on him first.
Oh yeah, that's the wrong people.
Yeah, but it also happened out in town when neither of them were in uniform.
Mhm. Yeah, you're still not
So,
allowed to touch the golden boys,
yeah.
but
Where,
also
I'm a
fuck
firm
them.
believer where I'm a firm believer is like, it doesn't matter what your rank is. If you put your hands on me first, you can catch these fucking hands.
Yeah, that's a good way to do things.
Yeah, and I'm also a firm believer that everybody should be punched in the face at least once in their life, so that you know where you stand.
I feel feel like it's more than once. I feel like you got to be punched when you're a teenager, early to mid 20s, and then right before you turn 30, just so you go, yeah, I shouldn't fight anymore.
Yeah. And then there's also, those like myself who we've already received enough brain damage where we're like, fuck it, I'll suffer the consequences of my body hurting me later. I'm not, because I don't, if I go into fights, I don't go in expecting to win. As long as I'm not the only one leaving that fight hurt, that's a win for me.
That sounds legitimate. It sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm one of those guys. Like I don't think I can kick everybody's ass. I'm confident enough in my abilities to know that I'm not going to be the only one leaving that fight fucked up. I'm also that asshole that's not against if you take me down and you try doing some stupid shit, I will throw a heel hook and blow out your kneecap.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I don't want to mess with you. Well, I'm glad this is only a death off and not like a fight.
No, no here's the thing. As we agreed, if we were face to face, we would be naked and oiled up, and then
In
from there it
axle
just gets
grease.
kinky. Yes, and axle grease, and then from there it just gets
So,
kinky.
are we talking silkies or speedos?
Oh, I'm talking straight birthday suit.
Ooh, all right. So
Yeah,
Kentucky
OG
Jelly and
Olympics.
Viagra.
Yeah, yes, and we're gonna do it OG Olympics style, like the original Olympics.
Ooh, all right. So I'm gonna dress up like a well,
However,
you can't
however,
dress up like a
however,
Greek while you're naked.
yeah, however, penetration is off the table. Gentlemen's agreement.
Okay.
Oil checks are allowed though. Yeah,
I have a
finger
fun
fine,
story about that.
phallus.
I had a sergeant who was, I think it was two-time South Carolina State wrestling champion, and it would have been one more if the other guy didn't check his oil, and so he stood back and knocked him out.
I mean, it's agreed upon that across, especially for American wrestlers, is like you don't check your opponent's oil, and you don't purposely sack tap them or grab their dick.
Yeah.
If you
Well, I
do,
wrestled too,
expect to get
not
knocked the
very
fuck
well.
out. Yeah. My grandfather on my mom's side was an Illinois Hall of Fame wrestler and referee, 3-time wrestler of the year, 4-time ref of the year. So, kind of in my blood. Granted, it was funny. Like
All right.
every wrestling season, because it goes football, wrestling, and then spring sports where I did track. And the funny, everyone's like, everyone else did like the winter sports to stay in shape for like football or baseball. I did football and track to stay in shape for wrestling.
I actually know a lot of guys that were like that also.
Yeah. And I had a lot of guys ask, why aren't you doing cross country or whatnot? I'm like, well, because I like doing football because I get to hit people and I get to, you know, in a sense,
Work on your footwork.
use my wrestling for something else and also a bit different. It lets me get the aggression out. But then I did pole vaulting and the 300-meter hurdles for track because to work on my cardio for wrestling.
Trying to
But
feel normal.
yeah, and also like you're not going to get scared of somebody who's bigger than you when you yourself who are at the time I was weighing like anywhere from like 150 to 170 pounds, flinging myself 10 plus feet in the fucking air,
Pole
which
vaulting is fucking wild.
dude, my coach instituted the rule specifically for me. After almost killing myself 5 times during practice, I was no more pole vaulting, go do my cooldowns, go home. Because I would almost kill myself about 5 times every day during practice. Dude, the worst one that I was doing, I was running, I was there, I planted it, the pole was at the crux of its bend, flew out of my hands. I landed on the flat part of the mat and I looked down, my head was like that far away from the concrete. So there
Yep.
was that. But yeah, dude, no, God, I loved wrestling. Granted, I had a slow start every year. It was like I would lose my first 5 matches of the season, but then I would just go on a tear of winning. And I was just one of those guys. Basically, shifting from football to wrestling. There's a little bit of having to rewire things and everything like that. But then when I got into MMA, it was just Monday through Saturday, like 9 hours a day. I was just in the gym, and I fell in love with it. But if I don't know if you did anything like that, but like the first time you go in for sparring and you have all the gear on, shitting my pants scared.
Mhm.
Because up until that point, the only fights I'd been in, only like 3 or 4 punches had been thrown, or was against my big brother. And this time I was like, no, no, you're going in there and you guys are fighting. And, I hadn't truly been, like hit in the face or anything like that before. But then after like my second or third sparring session, I fell in love with it and I quit wearing the headgear. I'd go in there and I just had a blast.
No, so I grew up doing kung fu, and then went in the Marine Corps, so that just kind of stopped. And one of my best friends that I lift weights with, like at home, he went in the Air Force and he got into kickboxing there. So now he's a kickboxing instructor at home. And so he'll like bring me in randomly, like when I'm home on a Saturday, be like, hey, you want to come in and just like, fuck with them? I'm like, what do you want me to do? He's like, and it's basically just because I can go from righty to lefty, like super
Dude,
easy. And
dude, so I know exactly what you're talking about because one thing that people don't realize, are you right handed or left handed?
right.
Okay, so as you know, a right-handed wrestling stance is a left-handed striking stance,
Hmm.
and that fucks with people. So that's one thing I've noticed is that wrestlers are really really good at switching between orthodox and southpaw because our
Well,
striking
there's
stance.
that. So I wrestled, so I have that too. But also, like in Kung Fu, everything you did equal both sides. So like you do your kicks right hand or with your right foot, you do your kicks with your left foot, you do your strikes with your right, then your strikes with your left. Like everything you do mirrored. So like you're doing it
Yep.
like back and forth, like do it this way, then do it this way, then do it this way, then this way. So you do everything mirrored. So like you can like just like go into a step and just keep going. And like so like he brings me in and like I'll mess with a few of the people like that can't handle it like that. But there's one kid who's actually pretty fucking good at kickboxing and is starting to transfer over to MMA who is left-handed. And but like I'll tell you now, I can't fucking hang with him. He's like 22 years old and fucking in
Oh yeah,
shape.
dude.
I'm not.
Yeah, dude. We're in our 30s. We're like especially like I'm wanting to get back into training just to train and if possible get into coaching because I know that my days of
Do it.
competition are long behind me. Like I had my
Oh,
last fight in
dude.
like December of 2016 and
It
that
is
was
so
before my.
much fucking fun. Even like, yeah, I'm like, I don't go that often, but still, like if I can teach them something, I will teach them the thing. And it's pretty fucking rewarding.
Oh yeah, dude. I tell you what, I had probably one of the greatest compliments I'd ever had when I went to the same gym in San Diego that Dominic Cruz, Ross Pearson, Phil Davis, and a lot of those guys trained out of when I was out there. And I went out there and I was basically doing their intro. Basically, the guy wanted to see where I would stack up, what classes I should take, and depending on my time schedule and everything like that. And I was in there and I was working with him and he was having me do jabs and he after that he was like he flat out told me I had probably the stiffest jab he had ever seen including the pros that were there. So
Nice.
and I was talking with him and I was like yeah, I had an old school box like um I don't know how big into boxing you are, but does the name Roy Jones Jr. ring a bell, of course? What
Yes.
about Mark Lanton?
No.
Okay, so Mark was Roy's best friend and training partner for like 10 years.
Right.
And Mark ended up going into the Air Force. He was a Armed Forces champ, a European champ, and a world champ. He was my first boxing coach. And
Nice.
this also one of the biggest compliments I ever received from him was he when I started training boxing under him at the same gym that I started training MMA at. He told me he was like, "Hey, take this slow. It usually takes people like 2-3 months to get the hang of throwing the 5 basic punches. 3 days later, he's looking at me. He's like, "Have you ever boxed before?" I was like, "No." He goes, "You already have those punches down perfectly." I was like, "Oh, thanks." And like with that, like part of me wishes that instead of joining the military, I had taken up that opportunity to go to Mizzou, wrestle, continue doing MMA. Because I was talking with my mom and a few others about this. They're like, "Yeah, if you had pursued that instead of the military, there's a good chance you'd be fighting for one of those big companies right now." I was like, in hindsight, yes, but you know, hindsight is 2020, and shoulda, woulda, coulda. But if
Also,
I
you
had
didn't get to
had
see
a
all the
better,
cool shit you did.
yeah, but I could also possibly be a multimillionaire fighting for a championship right now. So
Potato, potato.
yeah, but no, I do wish that I'd had a better first chain of command because I was trying to try out for the All Navy wrestling team and the All Navy boxing team. It's just first, how needs in the military is.
Yeah. We can't give you if we need you here.
I'm like, you're trying to get rid of me. Send me here instead.
Oh God.
But yeah, no, I'm a huge, huge fan of watching. Like currently, though, with that, I've really, really been paying attention more to Lithway,
What
which
is
is
that?
so it's the basically it's similar to Muay Thai. It's from that same area, except for it's from Myanmar instead of Thailand, and they don't. It's literally straight up bare knuckle. They don't do the hand wraps or anything like that. They also headbutt in that too.
Okay.
And dude, it's super super violent and fantastic to watch. Like if you've been watching any of the bare knuckle boxing, they have some matches with that in there. It is incredible to watch, and
It
I
sounds
thoroughly
like
enjoy watching it. Yeah, like because I also I quit watching football while I was in the Navy, and I started getting more into hockey while I was in the Navy as well. Which is funny because I also one of the towns I used to live in Illinois before I moved back to my hometown area was about an hour south of Chicago. My dad was a huge Blackhawks fan,
it. Mhm.
yet
So are
I
you
never had the
Blackhawks or
opportunity.
Blues then?
For my dad, I do enjoy the Blackhawks, but I also grew up watching the Mighty Ducks as a kid.
Nothing wrong with that. It was a great
Yep.
movie.
Oh yeah. And then also the cartoon that they were actually ducks.
I think I remember that one.
Yeah, they were like superheroes also on top of professional hockey players.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't have a favorite team at the moment. It's just I like watching hockey because I do prefer how it's a lot more not stagnant, if that makes sense, like football can be.
Yes.
So, but you know,
Like hockey, I enjoy playing it way more. Also, I haven't played in about 10 years.
yeah, I've only had ice skates on once, but I picked it up fairly well because I also used to rollerblade a lot when I was a kid.
Mhm.
And I had one of my buddies say, "Oh yeah, dude, you should totally try this." Like if I ever go out to visit him in Northern California where he's at and everything like that, he's definitely gonna let me try to get out there on one of their roller hockey games. But I'm like,
Mhm.
and I thought I told him like, dude, I'm gonna hit somebody, right? He goes, I figured as much. Like I'll suffer the consequences in my body later. But like, cause the biggest thing I want to do is like, if I can actually get onto an ice rink and do like a beer hockey league, I just want to fucking just plant somebody up against the wall at least once.
So, from my time playing beer league, it's uh gentlemanly discouraged.
Oh,
Like
so
you,
the fights
like
don't
if
happen
you're
as much in
doing
beer
that in a
leagues.
game, yeah, if you're doing that in a beer league, you really fucking hate someone and you want the game to end and your team to get suspended.
Fair. So
Yeah.
it'd probably
So
be
in
better to
beer
go to one
league,
of those like probably not beer league ones, but like what are they, the semi pro ones or something like that?
yeah, I don't know that what that would be. It'd probably be better just to like go to like a random drop in, like because there's like drop in hockey where you're like people come in and it's like, like if you were to go with your wife to like an open like skate where you can just like skate around in a circle, same concept. You pay like your $5 and like whatever, like,
Sign a
hey, you
waiver.
guys want to like play a game like s- black shirts versus red shirts or whatever everyone has, and you're like, and then just line someone up and then leave. You're probably just better off doing that.
Just straight up submarine them.
Yeah. Give him the fucking Ovechkin submarine. Just open ice and take him the fuck out.
And then just get off the ice and never come back.
Get off the
Give them
ice,
a
rip your
fake name and
skates off like
everything.
white.
Yeah, just as that's going on, be like, "Hey, babe, go start the car. Go start the truck. Go, go, go."
Just straight
But
up cross check submarine someone. Just fucking go all out.
just come up, take their whole top row. Just don't even bother taking off the skates. Just run right out to your vehicle.
Yep, yep. Just have those like skate guards that you can walk on ready for you.
Or instead of having laces on your skates, have those little quick detach ones that are like the metal wire. So as soon as you hit the ice, you just pop them off and just like kick them off and just take off.
I know what you're talking about. I just got a pair of boots with those on them. And I'm just like, these are amazing.
Dude, it is so nice. I've been granted, I don't live in a spot where I need boots like that because I just have a pair of Ariat fucking, work boots that I wear when I'm, not walking around in flip-flops because, down here in South Texas it rarely gets cold enough where I'm shivering.
Mhm.
But no, if I ever get up to Montana like I want to, I'm definitely gonna be getting some like boots that are like that. But my biggest
So I got a
issue
pair of
is
boots like that for Alaska, and the only problem with them is that my feet sweat in them, and then my
yeah,
feet get cold from sweating, and I'm like, son of a bitch.
get a good pair of wool socks and it'll prevent that.
I have several.
Yeah, my
Or I
biggest
just do the
issue is
classic
because
change my socks at lunch.
yeah, my biggest issue is that like getting the ones for the snakes because little did I know there's venomous snakes that far north, and
Yes, there
I'd
is.
want to get a pair. I'd want to get a pair of the snake boots that go up to about three-quarters of the way up your calf. I have thick muscular calves as a lot of wrestler like the not chicken legged wrestlers do. So I found out I'd have to get a pair of those boots custom made, which is fucking
Holy shit.
expensive.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
like because I went to Bass Pro Shop to try some on. I could not get them past my calf.
Huh,
Like at the thickest part of my calf, I could not get it past it.
that's
So like
wild.
my foot was like sitting like that, not even in the heel. So it was like sitting like that. And I still could not get my foot all the way in there. And that's on and like I wear a size like 10 wide, 10 and a half wide. I was trying out a size 13 and I still could not get my fucking leg into that boot. So if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna have to do the thing where I just get regular boots and then wear snake guards. Which I have a pair of
Probably the
snake guards.
easier option.
Yeah, I already have a pair of snake guards, thankfully, because South Texas, rattlesnakes
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
But
I've only had to wear snake guards once while I was working. That was somewhere random in Maryland.
yeah, which is weird. You wouldn't think East Coast fucking venomous snakes. No, fucking cottonmouths, fucking rattlesnakes, copperheads.
Yep. Yep.
Which personally, I'd rather wake up to a copperhead or a fucking rattlesnake in my tent, not a fucking cottonmouth. Fuck that.
I don't want any of those in my tent.
Yeah, no, like
No, no.
if I would if I were to wake up and one would be there, I would not want a cottonmouth because they are one of the few venomous snakes that will actually fucking chase you.
Oh, shit. I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah, yeah. Cottonmouth slash water moccasin. Yeah, they're very very fucking aggressive.
I believe it. Boy.
They also hunt and eat rattlesnakes and copperheads.
Holy shit.
Yeah. they all also you'll also know before you even see it. You'll know that you're near one because you'll get a smell of sewage.
Like a bear. Bears
Yeah,
smell horrible also.
yeah. But so yeah, like if you ever go back to visit your buddy in the Carbondale area or whatnot, and you guys end up going to one of the lakes where you're swimming in the water, if you see like a snake coming at you, it's like 100% a cottonmouth.
Huh.
And the fact that they're also a viper is also that like their venom is more potent than rattlesnakes.
Okay, that I did know because I'm pretty sure we had like the training on the snakes to North Carolina when we were there when I was in the Marines.
Yeah, they're like, listen, if you see this snake, just get the fuck out of the area because it will come after you. It's not, oh, don't fuck with the wildlife. No, this wildlife is gonna fuck with you.
How'd you like to die today, Marine? It's one of those things.
Yep. My god. Yeah, no, and then I also have like severe arachnophobia, and when I started hearing things about the camelback spiders, and then later on finding out that they weren't spiders technically,
Yeah.
but still, like I don't fuck with spiders. Not a fan of them. Never have been. Never will be. It mainly stems from I got bit on the leg when I was like 6 by a golden orb weaver. Yeah, the ones that people say are usually very fucking docile.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I got bit on my the outside of my right calf by one, and it fucking hurt.
I could see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I have not fucked with spiders since.
I mean, I can't say that I blame you.
Yeah, no. I've also ironically, whenever I was in high school, I did a report on brown recluse spiders, and
Uh,
ironically, when I was helping the girl I was dating at the time, I was helping them get some stuff out for her graduation stuff. I got bit like right there by a brown recluse, and whenever I was doing the studying for it, I was like, yeah, so 1 in 12 people have an allergic reaction to the brown recluse. If you've been bit by it once and you don't have the reaction, doesn't mean you're not going to have the reaction again. So, like, you could get bit by once and not have the reaction, but then you could get bit by it again and have that necrotic reaction to it.
right.
So, yeah, I don't fuck with spiders.
Necrotizing fasciitis, I believe it's called.
Yeah, yeah, it's just
Basically,
necrosis.
your skin dies and eats.
Yeah, but yeah. So I have not fucked with them since. I don't fuck with spiders. I'm not a fan of them. But the funniest part was I did get bonus points for going into that report and also having a bite from a brown recluse.
It's a messed up way to get bonus points, though.
I walked out of that report with 150% score on it.
Look, yeah, man. Passing is passing.
And bonus points are fucking awesome.
I think it's about time for me to go get some dinner because it's almost 9 o'clock.
Oh
Did you
yeah.
have
And
any
we
parting
started this
words?
about 2 hours early, so
Yeah.
yeah, and I think this also gives us a chance to drop in and mess with Trip on his live if he's doing one today, if I remember correctly.
Oh, we can, yeah. Do you have any parting words for of wisdom for the people out there in the world?
Um yeah. Basically just, be a good person. Don't force anyone to do anything that they don't want to do. But if someone is trying to force you or somebody else to do something against their will, put them the fuck down. Be a, with a fist or whatever entails. That
In the
that
wise
is
words of the
honestly,
Chuck Norris quotes, the room that you're in itself can be used as a weapon too.
yep.
All right, man. Well, hey, thank you for being on. Thank you for your service. And
I,
thank you for regaling us with fun times. And I learned a lot about diving today
I,
and also a
I,
few more conspiracy theories.
oh yeah, I also sent you the link for that too, so you can go through and look at all that whole list
Oh,
because that was a
sweet.
lot.
I might go down a rabbit hole tomorrow morning when I wake up.
Well, if you read through the books quickly enough and everything like that on either of your flights, you have some rabbit holes you can start looking into.
Sweet. All right, man. Hey, I'll
Next thing
see
you
you
know,
around, and best of luck to you in the death off.
oh yeah, best of luck to you as well. May the best man survive.
Yes,
Because first one to die loses.
that's right.
All right.
Unless you get penetrated, then you lose.
Yep.
Or if you penetrate, you get disqualified.
If you penetrate, you lose. But in all actuality, in that situation, there is no winner.
That's another one of those weird ones. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
All
It's
right.
a weird
Well,
way to
enjoy
end
your
things.
dinner.
Thanks, man. You have a great night. Enjoy your
You too.
family.
You as well.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.